here it is. Traffic Zine. I'm assuming it's Zine like magazine. Traffic Zine number 4. I'm on the front cover. Very exciting stuff. People that aren't familiar with this, basically this is a massive collaborative project among many artists who you are going to see their work in just a moment, as well as a full list of credits at the start. And basically each season that we do with the Traffic Life series, they go ahead and make artwork about certain moments, certain themes, and absolutely run wild with it. So yeah, I'm excited to see what this entails this time around. So we'll do a little zoom in. We'll go for 50%, which means you lose a little bit off the top and bottom, but if there's any artwork that I think we need to see the whole thing in one go, then I'll be certain to do that. We are at full zoom out. Okay, cool. Right then, so contents. I almost don't want to look at the contents just because I don't want to get spoiled. I just kind of want to see the artwork and see if I know what the moment was and how to recall it. So I'll go through that. But we've got Conk, VO, we got B, Jin, Spectre, Closet, Snowmouse, Spider-Zyg, I don't know how you pronounce that one. Berry Sly, Goomzan, Foxology, Stiff, Jester L, West, Wokv, Zera, Sharky, Owlooker, Knoll, Forest, Flavor, Kit, Oof or off. I'm not really sure. There's 2 O's, which makes you think it's an oof. We got Sage Anna, a poor conductor. We got Nox, Yawn, Rainy, Setakin, Sabira, Scrambled, Chloe, Ilex, Hate Happy Day, Wen, Hellion, Otzi. We got Sun, Ink, Berry, Zip Zap, Ambim Pup. We got Maylooney, VO, Kaki. We got Kaki, Casey. I'm going to say Casey. Kaki sounds a bit. Wait, this thing is almost 200 pages long. Well, the credits aren't. I want to make sure we credit people properly at the start. We got Fancy Fennel, we'll go for, on TikTok. We got A10, Sky, Carrot, Kazuhita. That sounds very Japanese, actually. Kazuhita. We got Panuki. We've got Opanuki. We got Berry, B, Link, Maru. There are definitely some repeats in here. We got Kai QS, Songo, Hoffen, Doody, Nox, Locta. That's a Cherry Fire art if I've ever seen one. We got Moon, Marbles, Zephanian Grains. We've got Krabby, Charlie, CL Worm, Messier. We got Paddy. We got Day. We got Yodeling Ram, Offix, Caster, Ellis Benji, and Cherry Fire. People have the same name, Martin. Oh, really? But like, really the same? Like, which were the ones that I felt like I saw a dupe of? Nox was one of them. I swear there was like an even more specific name that I feel as though I saw like a dupe of. So there you go. All right, let's get started. Right, sick. Okay, good beginning. So we're on the Red Sands, it seems. I don't think we ever named anywhere the Red Sands in the series, but that would have been really cool. But there you go. Scott about to take it to Skiz. Poor guy. This is great. Oh, wait, actually, wait. This is where I get confused sometimes. Because I see that as B-dubs immediately, but then this outfit's like not too dissimilar. Is that supposed to be Skiz or B-dubs? Oh, is that the boogie kill at the very start? Oh, I see. That's from the very first moment. Okay, cool. Yeah. Sick. And then you got B-dubs going to town. I love this little family shot and stuff like that. It's really nice. I love this texture on it as well. I'm really intrigued when they do this. I wonder if this is like, because it almost looks like there's some like half tone going on inside of here as well. So is it they draw it as like flat colors and then they embellish it with the gradients and the textures afterwards? Or do they kind of draw those on at the same time? I'd be intrigued to see the layering process of it. I love watching like montages of people do artwork or anything creative for that matter. This is not Bad Boy Safe. So that's Timmy and Joel headed straight down. What's Timmy's appearance about here, by the way? There's like the hands of a clock by the looks of it. But he looks very like, I don't know, he almost looks like a bit like a goat. That's the only way I can think of describing it. I mean, he's got some proper claw hands on him. Is he supposed to almost semi-resemble a canary, maybe? Beauty and the Beast. Right. Really? He's the Beast. Okay. Fair. Oh my god, Cleo looks terrifying there. Jeez. Look at that. I love when people do shots where they're using like warmth and light and stuff like that. Maybe it's more simple than I think because lots of people do it, but it's no less satisfying to me every time I see it. That's fantastic. Look at the bad boys down there, and he's got B-dubs just, and even can't even spot Scar to begin with. I'm assuming that's Scar, right? That's got to be Scar. That's pretty cool. Burn it down. Oh wait, there's writing. Burn it down. Man, I'd love to burn that place to the ground. A simple sentence from Scar as the group gazed out towards the manor in the distance was enough to set an idea into Cleo's head. She did have flint and iron on her, and as if to make believe that she was actually there, she pulled them out and set them in front of her. They contemplated it for a moment, and Cleo knew in her heart that it would be the most satisfying thing in the world. Sitting next to Scar and B-dubs, with their feet dangling off the edge of the rock face, it would almost be like a comfortable fireplace with free entertainment, a relaxing respite from the stresses of the day. That Cleo needed. Cleo needed that. Even if the mansion was to be reset, even if it would make some enemies, it'd be fun. And who doesn't want to have a little bit of fun? She declared her intentions, the rest of the clockers cheering her on, as she jogged off into the forest, newly crafted flint and steel in hand. She made it there in only a few minutes' time, and an even shorter amount of time, the mansion had become engulfed in flame. Her work here was complete. She returned to hear more voices than she remembered. Pearl and Bigby had joined them, and reasonably assumed that this fire was Scar's handiwork. It was his style, and his idea, but Cleo was proud to admit that she'd done the deed. And now, it was time to sit back and enjoy the show. So wait, is that how it happened? Or is this like a fanfic? I'm trying to remember how it went last time. Oh wait, this is still going. Oh damn. Okay, right. Hold on. They're canon compliant. Right. Okay, fair. Jimmy could smell it before he saw it. The scent of burning wood that sent a chill down his spine, despite the air becoming warmer. He placed the bucket with the pufferish of peace gently down in the corner of the chest, looking back to see what was going on. Scott seemed oblivious, or at least as though he was faking calmness so as to not cause worry. He smiled and tilted his head when Jimmy turned to face him, the coral catching the light and shimmering slightly. The light from... Oh my gosh! Was that you? An entire corner of the mansion's roof was ablaze, tendrils of flames reaching upwards and bringing light to the pitch-dark night sky. The bad boy mansion was burning! Scott tried to provide comfort, assuring Jimmy that it wasn't him as he made futile attempts to douse the flames with buckets of water. Someone else was there too. In the back of Jimmy's mind, he clocked it as Martin. Their voices soon became dull static in his ears as he ran closer and closer to the inferno, the heat hitting him like a slap in the face and making him want to recoil back on instinct. Willing himself to brave the pain of the fire licking at his skin, he descended the eaves of the roof, examining the forest and the parts of the mansion that he could see. The entire wall was completely engulfed in flame. The eaves were crumbling, chunks of wooden roofing plummeting into the ocean of fire that consumed the entire nearby forest. The wooden walls had already been eaten up enough that Jimmy could see inside, and that didn't look much better. Bucketfuls of water splashed down from a hole in the ceiling, presumably thrown by Scott. Jimmy nearly lurched down into the flaming depths before grabbing hold of a piece of wood. Still firmly attached to the roof and pulling himself up with shaky arms, he couldn't bear losing more time on top of this. He flopped down, very gracefully, he can assure you, onto the mildly safer rooftop, where he could see Martin and Scott attempting to douse the flame, or the blaze, coughing a bit from the smoke. Martin, was that you? Jimmy knew how he was going to respond, but it was always safe to ask. I came over and it was already going, Martin yelled back as he refilled his bucket. Scott said something about the forest burning, but the dull roar of flames and mental panic meant that it wasn't very comfortable. Comprehensible. It was best to see what Scott was talking about anyway. Jimmy sighed as he turned back, mentally preparing himself to see flaming trees in front of him. The forest nearby had predictably gone up in flames, the fire slowly spreading outwards from the point where he was at. However, what caught Jimmy's eye was not the raging fire, but was instead 5 figures on the mountain nearby. Bigby, Pearl, B-dubs, Cleo, and Scar. It had been them. All they were doing was watching the trio, like some sick source of entertainment. For a moment, Jimmy felt thankful that he hadn't been betrayed, and Green and Joel weren't among them. It was the little victories, he supposed. As long as the mansion itself survives the fire, it's okay. I'm using buckets of water in an attempt to get some of it. Scott moved towards Jimmy to attempt to comfort him, multiple buckets slung over his arms. In the back of his mind, Jimmy wondered if one of them was the one that contained the pufferish of peace. He hoped not, because Scott was wasting his time with this. No, but it's all on fire. It's all inside. He gestured to the inferno that was once the inside of the mansion, just as Scott pitched forward and tumbled down the wall with a shriek. Jimmy panicked for a moment before the splash confirmed that he was safe. Having managed to land in one of the puddles their dousing attempts had created. Yep, I see what you mean, he shouted back up, confirming his safety. By the time Scott had climbed back up to the roof, they'd managed to at least keep the platform safe, while an inferno raged below them. Jimmy quickly sent off a message to the other bad boys, hoping that they would come in time to take all of their hard-earned valuables to a place that wasn't on fire. A few minutes later, he heard Joel's voice. "Oh, it looks fine from this side." "No, Joel," both Timmy and Scott yelled in sync. Joel was not going to be happy once he saw the extent of the damage. Jimmy knew. "It's bad. It's real bad. Moving days here, boys." "Yeah, well, wait until you see the inside." Scott held up his empty buckets of water to punctuate the statement. Green and Joel heaved themselves up over eaves, making their way towards the others. Through a burnt hole in the roof, Green peered down to the destruction below, an annoyed groan escaping him once he saw the true extent of the damage. "Right, which idiot burnt the mansion down? Look at this blooming forest!" Joel angrily pointed towards the flames that used to be a lively forest, his small body shaking with rage. Got the very specific detail. Damn. "Oh, it's Scar. Look at his face." Oh no, wait, more of a Green sight. It'd be, "Oh, it's Scar. Look at his face." Green's rage was much more subdued, and he watched Jimmy descend down the wall and throw buckets of water with very little expression in his eyes. As they continued to talk, the quartet came to an agreement that this was definitely Scar's handiwork. Considering his track record, this type of chaos had his name written all over it. As the conversation slowly started to drift elsewhere, Jimmy began to hear people approaching the mansion. Oh my gosh, look at that destruction! Every head turned towards the voice. The man of the hour decided to show himself, and the bad boys were not ready to welcome him. "Scar, did you have something to do with this?" Green tucked to the front of the group, instantly taking an assertive tone. Scar did not seem fazed. "I was not the perpetrator of this crime." He paused for a moment, adding much more softly, "I may have sold tickets, but that's..." "He didn't do it." Cleo backed him up, her arm in front of Scar. Jimmy peeked over the edge to look at them, just in time to witness Scar catch fire. Wait, what? He quickly hopped into a nearby pond, all whilst proclaiming that he was not the one who set the mansion on fire. While Jimmy instinctively wanted to doubt him, both he and Cleo sounded like they were being honest. That small voice at the back of his mind that Jimmy hadn't even noticed was there since Green had accused Scar was growing louder. But even if it wasn't, even if he wasn't at fault, someone in that group was. They'd all merely stood there, watching them struggle to keep their home and their base from becoming nothing more than a pile of ash, like some sort of sick movie. Scar wasn't willing to tell the bad boys who it was, not for any price they could afford. And they probably wouldn't have much luck with anyone else that knew either. Even as they became distracted, the thought still burned in Jimmy's mind. They needed to get revenge. The sun was now slowly rising over the horizon, bathing three bad boys in an orange glow. Their fishing bobbers floated lazily on the water, the blue liquid seeming as if it sparked in the morning sunlight. Joel felt a tug on the line. A fish had caught it, and he pulled it out, grabbing it before it flopped onto the wooden roof. Jimmy sat cross-legged on the edge of the haphazard stone pool, mumbling grumpily to himself. Mumbling grumpily. Does that sound right? Yeah, I think I said that right. To himself, after every catch made by his fellow bad boys without him having caught a single one. Green stared down into the water, wind ruffling in his hair. The bad boys exchanged light-hearted banter, laughing and smiling while the mansion continued to burn around them. Just for now, even if they knew they had to deal with the aftermath later, they could have peace. Pretty cool. Oh god, there's another one. Like, do we just have a whole stream where I'm just reading them all? I understand now what you guys were saying about all the different approaches. It is quite hard to sight read, but still. Oh, what's happened there? Have I broken it? Let's carry on. I feel like I need some slightly more appropriate music if we're going to do this. Skip the ones about you. Oh, skip to the ones about you, not biased. I mean, yeah, I guess we could. Story. What's this? Story topic. Here we go. Bloodlust. I'd always been a strange and unnerving feeling in another life. Oh, wait, hold on. Is that right? Wait. Yeah, let's go for it. All right, you ready? Let's do it. Bloodlust had always been such a strange and unnerving feeling. In another life, Martin could remember falling prey to its temptation, allowing himself to indulge in his own madness and take another's life to save his own. He thought he'd learned from that experience, that he'd never be enticed by his own bloodlust again. But the boogeyman's curse worked in a very peculiar ways, and he was nothing if not an underling. Or its underling. Well, in spite of his unease, Martin had immediately started planning, wondering when, where, how, and even who he'd kill. Because as easily as he could take out his sword and eliminate one of the people beside him, where was the fun in that? He wanted his kill to be dramatic, pretentious, memorable, in all of the worst ways. All he needed was for the opportunity to present itself. And in a game of death and chances, it didn't take very long for that to happen. The first opportunity had come when Skids had been alone and gearless in the caves. It has been overwhelmingly tempting. Oh, it had been. I think that's supposed to be a D, isn't it? Yeah. It had been overwhelmingly tempting to kill him, because it meant both a quick escape from the curse and a comedic continuation of Skids' own apparent curse. But in that very moment, Skids had done something unexpected. Something that had saved his life without him being any the wiser. Because, as if in spite of uncertainty and mistrust that plagued the group, Skids had decided to give Martin a genuine and wholehearted compliment. It had taken Martin by surprise, and for a moment he was unsure what to say or do. Part of him didn't have the heart to slaughter Skids after such a kind and heartfelt gesture, and during that brief moment in which he faltered, the opportunity slipped away from him. His second chance, albeit more of an opportunity to cause chaos than kill, came when Grian made the grave mistake of digging straight down. Quite a novice mistake in hindsight, and Martin could be really... Martin couldn't really be blamed for standing by and watching in amusement. However, Grian didn't die, and even if he had, the death wouldn't have been Martin's to claim. A more direct way of impacting an otherwise accidental death manifested not too long later, when atop a mountain that had yet to be given a name, a creeper making its way towards Cleo. There was a creeper. What? Given a name, a creeper was it was making its way towards Cleo. Sorry. Sight reading's really hard. I'm just about getting through it, but not 100%. Let me have another quick drink. Oh, no, we're good. Martin had debated pushing them into its path, a vague memory coming back to him in which he'd once similarly pushed her into death's clutches. However, Martin could also remember how furious they'd been after that had happened, and decided against aggravating her this time. Later on, he'd run into Grian whilst exploring an amethyst cave, who was seemingly alone and without much gear to defend himself. It would have been a perfect chance to get this whole curse business over with, if Martin hadn't discovered that Joel was with Grian and was wielding an iron sword, which Martin wasn't too keen on ending up on the wrong side of. He'd quickly left the self-proclaimed bad boys behind, and Etho in an underground room that he, Tango, Skiz, and Impulse had apparently claimed as their base. Martin made a brief attempt at digging Etho into a hole, perhaps using it as an opportunity to trap him in there and secure an easy kill, but ironically ended up falling into one of Etho's own traps. Injured, impatient, and having just taken a substantial bruise to his pride, Martin hoped to redeem himself when Skiz and Impulse arrived through a hole in the ceiling. In an attempt to drop a bucket of lava on the ground just as Skiz was coming down, Martin had instead lit one of their ill-fated cows ablaze, leaving them with one less cow and almost certainly making Etho more suspicious than he'd already been. So many perfect opportunities, yet none of them have worked out in Martin's favour. The timer kept ticking, always reminding Martin that he had so much to lose, yet one chance to save himself. The pressure was driving him to the brink of insanity, his need for blood having grown so overwhelmingly that he knew he couldn't just wait for the time to strike. Not anymore. He needed to take matters into his own hands, and he's going to force this kill to happen, whether his victim liked it or not. TNT was always a good way to force a kill, because it was very, very difficult to get wrong. This does not fit the vibe, does it? Hold on. Moods. Dark. Yeah, I'll take that. Yeah, this will do. TNT was always a good way to force a kill, because it was very, very difficult to get wrong. The more TNT, the higher success rates, and Martin decided that the 3 should surely do the job. Despite the aforementioned failure to skiz, Martin remained in the little hole that he, Impulse, and Etho had dug out for themselves, hoping that more people nearby would further increase his chances of success. When Scott and Tango had arrived moments later, Martin knew the time had come. He had less than half an hour to spare, and although Skiz's retelling to Scott of his third death that day sparked a glimmer of sympathy in the depths of Martin's heart, it was swiftly overtaken by the merciless need to kill. Scott was led down into the maze of doors and hallways that Ties called their base, whilst Martin made his way into one of the many passages that lay directly above the center room. Their eyes had briefly met, but even if Scott had his suspicions about what Martin was doing, he never expressed them. A mistake on Scott's part. All things considered, it was a shame that he was likely about to die. As Tango recounted the tragedy of their many lost cows, Martin dug a new hole through the ceiling, holding his breath and hoping that nobody would notice him as they spoke among themselves. 5 people, 1 room, half an hour, and 3 TNT. There was no way he could get this wrong, as he simply couldn't afford the luxury of making another mistake after the train wreck of a day he'd had. He lit the fuses in quick succession, letting them drop into the room below as he waited for the telltale screams that would make his kill all the more satisfying. And surely enough, the screams came alongside the first deafening boom of TNT. "I can't move!" he heard Skiz yell, and although he certainly didn't deserve to be killed by the boogeyman for the 3rd time today, Skiz's words gave Martin hope that he'd secured at least 1 kill with his TNT. The second explosion rang through the tiny cave, and at the same time, he heard Etho's voice next. "Not the cows!" That's my Etho impression. Martin froze. As the 3rd explosion went off, he waited for the bloodlust to dissipate. He waited for the satisfaction, the relief, emptiness, anything but the insanity of the curse. But it never came. And slowly, it dawned on him. The shock and horror that he'd wasted 3 TNT, outed himself as the boogeyman to 5 people, and only thing he killed was the godforsaken cow and its calf. He didn't know what to do. His master plan had failed, and he was facing the very real risk of losing 6 hours of his precious time. What had been fear and anxiousness moments ago had devolved into pure terror. No thanks. Oh. I don't think this is my watcher music, but it's fine. I've been all in my bag. What had been fear and anxiousness moments ago had developed into pure terror. The screaming urge to kill, consuming his every thought and leaving him lost and panicking. "Who did this?" came Tango's voice, furious, as Martin scurried out of the hole and across the nearby river. Perhaps if he got away fast enough, they wouldn't see him, and he might get one last chance to save himself from the curse's unforgiving consequences. He only had minutes left to spare at this point. He'd taken whatever opportunity he could get. "I think it was Martin," he heard Scott reply, and Martin groaned. Of course. Scott had watched him climb down the passageway to enact his plan, and had been too caught up in the moment to realise how much of a risk it had been. If he just killed Scott there and then, all of this could have been avoided. In the typical fashion of bad luck, he only came up with that brilliant idea after it was far too late to enact it. "Martin's got to be the boogeyman," Impulse called, only worsening the situation. He hit the nail on the head, and a simple message in chat alerting the others would hit the same nail right into Martin's coffin. It would take them at least a few minutes to regather their things and tell the rest of the group, and he had to use those minutes wisely to his advantage. It didn't matter if he had nothing but a lava bucket and no food to help him in a fight. The next person he saw was the one he'd kill, and that was that. It was unfortunate that the next 2 people he saw happened to have been his friends of many years, but Pearl and Bigby had simply wound up in the wrong place at the wrong time. Bigby was standing so close, blissfully unaware of who or what was coming, and as much as Martin wanted to resist the temptation, he knew he couldn't. His clock was ticking, his time too limited, and the bloodlust too overwhelming to ignore any longer. The boogeyman's curse told Martin to kill, and after all, he'd always been such a good listener. Oh, I like that line. That's a good line, dude. Oh my god. So is it a case of someone's written a fanfic and then people write art around it, but all of the fanfics are just kind of like embellished writings and internal monologues of the characters from within these moments? Because if so, that's very cool. I like that. This is a cool setup. Oh, look at me go. Is that when I fell down Etho's hole? Or no? Every piece is surrounding a death. Ah, cool. Did it say that at the start? Was there like a little bit about it that said or no? Because obviously I did the credits. Oh, I see. So Scott kills Skiz, B-Dubs kills Skiz. Right, with you. Okay, cool. It does explain it a little bit. Cool. I obviously avoided that because I didn't want much in the way of spoilers. Nice. Oh, wow. Oh, my God. That is great. Look at that. The way they're all just bundling out the window. I love the motion blur as well on everything towards the top. Damn. This is very cool. Oh my god. Look at the bad boys just dropping it. Cleo's in like a 80s fitness outfit. How does she do that kind of routine with those on? That couldn't happen. Oh my god. I do love the bad boys logo there, by the way. That would look sick on merch. I bet you Timmy will ask for that to make some. That's cool. I love this, the jewel that they had. Very cool. Look at us there as well as the Mean Girls. This is great. Oh, look at that. AFK Grian. Bit of a curveball. Wasn't expecting to see that, but that's awesome. So much talent, dude. All right, let's have a look. I think like people said, maybe I'll read my own fan fictions. Just because otherwise this might take all day. And I only have about an hour and a half left on the stream. I probably will read these separately, if I'm honest, but we'll go through. I'm just intrigued to see, because obviously I know my moments really well, so I can always share my perspective on those interactions. And maybe what I was thinking versus what they've written and whether it did match up or whether there was conflicting ideas at the time. I mean, that first one was pretty good, right? I don't remember clocking Scott on the way in, but I must have done if it's written there. But yeah, pretty much everything was spot on. That's a really cool shot. Damn. I'm loving this use of the dot map in the halftones. It's very, very cool. It ticks my my sort of graffiti, manga, Jet Set Radio sort of, you know what I mean? That sort of era. I love the little frog sticker as well. It's very cool. That makes Cleo look badass, my dude. Oh my god. What's this one? That's Joel and Graham by the looks of it. Okay, what we got? Ooh, I like that. That's sick. So wait, so Etho's got a fishing rod and he cuts a tie with Joel. Oh wait, so this is like a blended one. This is a blend between Second Life, not Second Life, what's it called? Double Life. There you go. I know it had something to do with twos and pairs. Yeah, cool. That's a blend between Double Life and then Limited Life. That's awesome. I love that. That's great. I love the bowing on the bamboo. Really kind of gives shape to it, doesn't it? It kind of gives you that brace for impact. You feel like you're at the front of like a sonic boom. Very cool. Very cool. Oh, there's me. What am I doing? Oh, is this when I accidentally dropped TNT on them? Well, I say accidentally. When I killed the wrong person. No, it's the stalagmite. Sorry, that's what I meant. Not TNT. Stalagmite. Or tight, sorry. Stalactite, if it's at the top. Yeah, with the dripstone. That's really funny. That's a great... I'd love that. I mean, this style of character I really enjoy. I love seeing my guy look like that. That's awesome. Oh, there's only one green left. Take your time and I'll take mine. I mean, I'll probably be in this. I don't know, to be fair, I'm actually not that in it that much. I think it's probably just at the end, isn't it? Yeah, I wasn't in that one until the very end. All right, okay, this one literally starts with my name. Okay. Thrill to kill, but was it worth it? Martin's ears were still ringing from the explosion, his vision tilting and blurring. However, he could still clearly spot Scott diving into the water. Grian jumped in after, and Martin scrambled to follow, shaking off the daze from the explosion. His cries for the others to leave Scott alone went unheard. He promised Scott he'd protect him. He couldn't let him down. Although, Scott seemed to be doing pretty okay, considering he just let a pufferfish loose on Grian. Martin broke the surface of the water, gasping and floundering. There had to be some way out of this. He could get more pufferfish to Scott. He would fight off every yellow on the server if he had to. Rules be damned. Anything to ensure Scott's time wasn't stolen. Scott surfaced beside him with more grace than Martin had. His eyes were wide as they flitted around the waters, watching the yellows closing in. Martin, just take it. Just kill me. Scott cutting himself off, reaching out towards Martin. He grabbed his wrist, guiding Martin's swords towards his chest. The sudden defeat in Scott's tone chilled Martin to his core. He swallowed nervously before speaking. Okay. Hold up. Arrows whizzed over their heads, and Scott let go of Martin's wrist to dive into the water once more. Martin hurried to follow him, but admittedly, Scott was a much faster swimmer than he was. He's there! Get him! Joel's cry sounded, muffled by the water. I'm having him! I'm having him! Jimmy shouted, diving towards Scott. Jimmy managed to get a hit in. Droplets of Scott's blood floated up in the water before Scott managed to shove him away. Scott had a hand pressed to his side, and the time seemed to freeze for a moment as his pleading gaze locked on Martin. But time was set in motion once more as Scott abruptly kicked upwards towards the surface. Martin! Scott shouted, voice becoming clearer as Martin surfaced as well. I'm trying to get to you! Scott, swim towards me! Martin cried, diving down again and twisting to evade Jimmy. Scott followed Martin, swimming into his arms and into his sword. The blade slid between his ribs as Martin pulled him closer, twisting the sword as he did so. Scott clung to him, and Martin could feel, more than hear, as Scott choked. A flurry of bubbles and blood escaping his mouth and floating towards the surface. But Martin's gaze was locked on the way his sword jutted out from Scott's back, red with blood. It felt wrong, despite the new rules. He was only yellow. They shouldn't be killing. That was for the reds. But all the same, it felt familiar. It wasn't the first time Martin had killed someone he'd sworn to protect. Before, he was meant to be killing, and that someone had asked him to do so. Scott buried his face in Martin's shoulder, and as if to say, it's okay, we did it, before he dissipated into sea foam. Martin lurched forward a bit, unbalanced by the sudden lack of his presence. Even though his body was gone, Scott's blood still curled through the water. Martin's eyes were fixated on the sight, mesmerizing and horrible all at once. There was a sudden surge of energy that shot through Martin, a ferocious hunger that he hadn't completely registered before now, satiated. Martin glanced at his wrist, seeing his time tick up. For a brief, sickening moment, Martin was filled with relief. He had gotten more time, and it felt good. No! Jimmy cried out from the water above, snapping Martin back to the present. Martin kicked up to the surface, gasping, "All right, this stops! This stops!" he cried as he flailed about in the water. Martin ignored the defeated cries and grumbles of the other yellows as he swam to the shore. He clambered onto the sand on his hands and knees, breathing heavily. He did it. He kept Scott from killing them. He kept them from killing Scott. But at what cost? Martin wiped his sword clean in the sand, trying to ignore the red that now clung to the grains. He rose to his feet with a grimace as the other yellows made it to the shore. So, Martin took it in the end. Oh, what a betrayal. It's not a betrayal when it's requested, Martin shot back, hating the way his throat tightened at the words. Martin's comment went largely ignored as the yellows devolved into manic glee. Their focus turned to killing Tango now that Scott was no longer green. Part of Martin wanted to join them, still craving more time even though he'd just gained more. But at the same time, the thought of killing while still on yellow made Martin sick to his stomach. He still felt wrong, even if the rules were different this time around. "I'm looking forward to the peaceful times of yellow," Martin shouted over the din of violent intent. Again, he was ignored, and with a shake of his head, Martin ran off to find Scott. The first sound that escaped Scott's lips was a cheer as he respawned. He stumbled back, giddy and relieved as he clutched at where Martin's sword had run through him. Martin had more time now, and none of their enemies had taken Scott's time. But with elation came a sudden feeling of wrongness. His teeth felt too big for his mouth, and the air seemed thinner somehow, as Scott struggled to get a complete breath. Scott's hand flew his throat. Oh, okay, hold on. Scott's hand flew his throat, And that's when he noticed the scales scattered across his skin. He held his hand out in front of him, turning it back and forth as he observed how his nails were much more like claws now, and his fingers were slightly webbed. Scott scrambled down the mountain to the river to get a better look at himself. Gleaming yellow eyes stared back at him from his watery reflection. Gills fluttered at his throat that explained the shortness of breath, and, of course, there were the grey-blue scales scattered all across his face and arms. The coral seemed to have made a more permanent home as well, growing from him rather than being purely decorative. He cast one look at his reflection with a resolute frown. This transformation was likely some sort of punishment. Too bad he could care less about the twisted sense of judgment that or whoever it was, that stuck everyone here had. Scott wouldn't give them the satisfaction, even if they turned him into a monster. In fact, Scott quickly began to relish what he was becoming. It hadn't really clicked until he made his way back to the ocean shore and saw Jimmy standing off to one side. He made his way over to him, anger briefly clouding Scott's vision as he swiped at Jimmy with his claws. Jimmy yelped, stumbling back and clutched his arm. "You, sir," Scott said, crossing his arms, "are mean." Jeez, what happened to your face?" Jimmy asked, sounding more concerned for Scott than himself. A smile spread across Scott's face, and Jimmy noticeably paled at his now sharper teeth. "Scales? Water life, you know," he said nonchalantly. "Oh my gosh," Jimmy managed to get out, body tense like he was ready to bolt at any opportunity. The conversation was cut off by Green's shriek of frustration of being unable to find Tango, and Scott watched with amusement. Soon, there would be peace. But Scott would be sure to use his new form to his advantage when the time came. Cool. I like that one. That one's good. Look at that. Yeah, I love that you've drawn the stuff in the background. That's awesome. And the wings as well. That's good. Mutually assured demolition. Okay, I don't think I'm in that one. That seems like it's a ties one. Keep going. I should probably just scroll on that side, shouldn't I? Bam. Ooh, wow. Oh my god. Damn. So you got the bad boys. I love that they always draw a Timmy with those little like canary wings around the eyes as well. I've seen that's a trend in the community. I think that's really, really cool. There you go. Was this basically Skynet? Is that what this was all about? Again, love the warmth. Love the colours. It's great. And it's not that just there's warmth in that spot. It emanates and it sort of spreads properly, doesn't it, on everything? Is that me? What's that around? What is that I'm holding? A dead frog? Or is that... No, that's Timmy, isn't it? Oh, that's... Is that Judge, Jury and all that sort of stuff? I couldn't tell for a second. Whenever it's a blonde character, it's hard for me to know if it's me or Timmy. I have to find a telltale sign. Also, the fact the tongue is a heart. I don't know if that's it. That must be intentional. But it's very cool. It's very cool. All right. Next one. Wow. Oh, damn. Love everything revolving around the clock as well. I love that we get a close-up of Cleo here as well. Because obviously it's not... she's quite distant there. That's very cool. That's really nice. I like it. I love the I don't know if that's a soul departing or the body departing there, but that's also very cool. Damn. Ooh, now this is interesting. Oh my god. Huh. That is unreal. That's a really captivating art style, isn't it? Look at those eyes. Your proportions and, like, I don't know, there's a realism to it. Your proportion work is unreal, whoever made this. Really, really cool stuff. Look, there's the falling animation there as well. That's wild. Damn. Doesn't look like I'm in this one. Ooh, I like that. That's very cool. Oh, interesting. They've done Cleo as like a deer, I guess. Oh, wait. Oh, is this because it was supposed to be... Is this when Gem was in? Is that what that's referring to? Is that the reference? Ah, that's Gem and Cleo. Got it. Gotcha. That's cool. That again, it's those details, isn't it, that pop out immediately. Martin's birthday. Right, sure. What's the next song? Oh, sorry, we'll go into it. Hold on. All right, here we go. Today is Martin's birthday, and he wants to get a kill. He tells Scott as much after a cheerful explanation of the pufferfish traps that Scott's laid out this morning while Martin was busy oversleeping. Well, more specifically, he puts on his best puppy dog, or fish fry, eyes, and tries to get a birthday half an hour off of Scott's timer, of which his teammate is having precisely none. You should be trying to get the hours off of everybody else, so you don't need them off of me. Yeah, I guess so, Martin pouts, and sets his sights to more ambitious plans instead, which is to say, a murder party. It takes him all day to piece together. There's a lot of distractions. Something weird's going on with Cleo and the Clockers. Joel and Jimmy's deaths in quick succession pop up in chat right when he's entertaining the possibility of stealing their villager. A tree grows on his head and the branch knocks him flat on the floor, for which Scott is of course quick to mock him. That's not even mentioned in the part where, right as he's about to start setting out party decorations, all three bad boys come in, swords a-blazing, yelling, "You better not be stealing our villagers, lad!" What? Oh! Martin drops his sword and a load of freshly crafted stairs in his rush to get out of the line of fire. Oh, whoa, whoa, wait a minute. Whoa, 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 whoa. I'm joking. I'm joking. Did he just throw his sword on the floor? Grian cackles. Yeah, because I'm busy trying to make a birthday party and you're over here treating me like a piñata. Jimmy's laughter cuts, replaced with earnestness, or at least whatever passes for earnest look behind the pair of ridiculous sunglasses. Oh, it's your birthday? It is my birthday today, yeah. They all come in cooing at that, swarming like the shoals of fish by the coral shores when Scott chucks their leftovers into the sea. Martin can't help but find it a little condescending. Guys, it's his birthday. Do you? Oh, that means he gets birthday immunity. Tim, you can't kill him. What? The games have never run over his birthday before, so he's not sure if this is an actual rule, or if Grian's just pulling things out of thin air. Although, to be fair, as the admin, he is technically allowed. That would be fantastic, Martin says, anyway, as Joel grumbles about losing out on the chance to commit indiscriminate murder once again. I've already given Scott the task of making the birthday cake. I was going to ask you, he gestures to Timmy, whose crossbow is still loaded and aimed for whatever reason. But you've had a bit of a mare, so I don't want you to have to do any more work. True. It's my birthday too, announces Grian out of nowhere. They all turn to look at him. Nobody kill me either. Martin clocks the bit. Jimmy clearly doesn't. What? Wait, it's your birthday too? Yeah, it's everybody's birthday. Don't kill me. The arrow sticking out of Grian's collar tells a very ironic story, and not one the bad boys seem interested in hanging around to tell. Actually, that might be more because of Martin's impending red life. They scarper about 5 minutes before the arrival of that. Instead, it's Tango and Etho, having popped up by to see what he's up to, who witness Martin reach his final form. Hey, at least he's got his new outfit on standby. With the heat of the red life newly simmering under his skin, he feels a lot more comfortable with his plans to blow up as many party guests as possible. Not that he was particularly reserved about the whole idea before. 3 ties, 2 clockers, even try and throw him a little get-together of their own. And Cleo offers him a birthday present of a diamond to strengthen their alliance. She done something different with her hair. But Martin shushes them to wait until the main event. Well, I mean, you're red, says Tango. What's wrong with that? Do reds not get birthdays? Is that what you're trying to say? Well, I don't know what you're waiting for. You might be dead soon, he points out. As if ordained by fate, Bigby's death message pings in a chat a second later. That seemed like a good sign as any to Martin to really that Martin really ought to hurry up. Memento mori and all that. Okay, see ya, says B-Dubs as he's walking away, and then faint in the distance. Is it his birthday for real? Seems like this day is nothing but distractions because it takes him hours to get around to finishing off the birthday party build. There's an unsuccessful trap attempt by Pearl. Does she have a cold or something? A far more successful attempt to pretend he didn't watch the bad boys villager burn to death this afternoon, and an admission that it was Grian. It was Grian who got him sashimi'd on the glass pane the week before. Finally, though, he plants the TNT and sets the scene for his actual birthday party. And it's a pretty good turnout, all things considered. The Clockers make it, the Noisy Neighbors make it, Ties makes it. and Scott yells at everyone else in chat to get a move on if they want to make it before the cake is gone. There are highs, the 3 diamonds that end up in the gift chest, and lows, the horde of pillagers that Scar comes barreling in pursued by, because Martin really wanted... what Martin really wanted was to get a bad omen on his birthday. But nobody questions them with Scott when Scott asks everyone to crowd in and receive a healthy dose of weakness ahead of the proper celebrations. Martin's not sure why. It's the flimsy excuse he's heard all week, but he's definitely not complaining. And then, very quickly, the idea of the murder party gets a lot more broadly defined. In the wake of it, he'll identify no fewer than 6 separate major threats on lives of the party guests. The first, of course, is his own. When the campfire went out under the impact of a mistakenly fumbled splash pot, or well, not a pot, it was supposed to trigger an explosion directly under all the people who'd so helpfully squished themselves together in one area, leaving Martin to slip out of the blast radius before anybody realised, and ideally get a solid half-dozen kills. Sure, he'd have plenty of pretty firmly identified... Oh, sure, what? Hold on. My brain's mushing. When I read a lot of text at once, my mouth gets ahead of my head. Sure, he'd have been pretty firmly identified as the bad guy after that, but since Martin was shied away from a little... Oh, sorry, but when has Martin shied away from a little antagonism? That doesn't happen, though. Instead, they're interrupted by the second. TNT rains from on high, presumably launched off a Skynet, and lands explosive. Yeah, that works. And lands explosive just behind the gathered crowd. It's close enough to singe, but not to actually catch anybody. Pearl, the closest to the point of impact, stumbles away from it and into the scatter, pulling her hood low on her face as she does. The floor is thoroughly obliterated. Grass and dirt go flying. Thud ineffectually. Oh, sorry, hold on. I'm reading this all wrong. My inflections are well off. The floor is thoroughly obliterated. Grass and dirt go flying, thud ineffectually, and leave skid marks against the hourglass skeleton, which has thus far managed to remain untouched. The third is not far behind, as the bad omen Martin was worrying about a minute ago comes in like Chekhov's gun to further complicate the crisis. Scar, having pitched a little too close to the nearest village in his panicked runaway from where the bombs are dropped, alerts a warning system, and the curse that's following in his footsteps finds a new, more easy target. The raid across the field is hardly Martin's problem. It's just another bloody emergency he needs to start worrying about. Never want to be outdone, Martin figures he may as well exasperate the issue and chucks the water splash bottle in the direction of his miraculously still lit campfire. Glass shards rain, the bottom half of the hourglass is finally splintered by something, unable to enforce its sheltering power against the threat from underneath. Most of the crowd have dispersed in a wide berth away from the Skynet bombs. From where the What? God, my head hurts. Most of the crowd had dispersed in a wide berth away from where the Skynet bombs had fallen, though, so it still doesn't hit a lot of victims. Pearl is, again, the most obviously affected, the edge of her red hoodie catching a light from the proximity. She yelps, slaps over-sleeved hands around the flame to smother it, and follows a good half of the other party guests as they run in direction of the river. Martin follows, but he's slow, and he nearly gets caught out by number 4. Whoever's up there on Skynet, and there's not a lot of options, given that the less impressive bad boys were the only 2 who hadn't made it to the party by the time Scott motioned for the splashing to begin, isn't done yet. A second TNT minecart must have been sent down behind him, because he trips over his own feet and has to fight to keep his balance when the blast bursts fire and smoke and kinetic energy right into the back of him. In front, he sees Pearl almost run headfirst into a random creeper to make disaster number 5. He hears the shouts of Skiz and Scott attempt to lead her somewhere safe. She must be really dazed if she can't even pick out her own name in the clamour. Which brings it down, delayed. The Martin moment starts to... The Martin moment starts to wonder. The moment Martin starts to wonder if it might be really over. To problem number 6. He inches back over to his birthday chest, hoping to at least grab those diamonds and the singular egg that somebody left him. But of course, it's never safe. A third airstrike is centered on the party grounds. This one blows the chest to splinters and sends his precious presence sprawling on the grass beyond it. The rest of the hourglass finally takes the brunt of the explosion. The top half of their protective roof entirely shattered and left useless. Shards of its failed potential settled in a vaguely even circle on the floor, like the world's worst fairy ring. Come on, is all that Martin can bring himself to think. As if his own plans weren't enough excitement, literally every other intervening force possible apparently had to come and liven the place up as well. It seems, though, that's really all there is to it, because things seem to quiet down for good with that. Martin surveys the crowd and sees that, unsurprisingly, a good chunk of the party guests have given up and gone, most likely, home. Brian standing there menacingly, the unmistakable smirk of having successfully plotted something worn proudly on his face. Scott's attempted to do damage control, rounding up the people he can manage, making sure there's no lingering scalds or scrapes that need addressing. Well, there we go, sighs Martin. That's my birthday, everyone. And then, hurling down from the sky, both sudden and annoying as the bombs they've just deployed. Hey, greets Jimmy, innocent as any other time he's bold-faced lied. Holy moly, what's happened? That was you guys. Oh my gosh, Joel continues, not interested in keeping up pretenses. There's no one at the party. Scott, devoted teammate that he is, comes round to stand between the two of them and Martin. We were under the hourglass. There was a glass roof. What? Oh no. For Martin's part, he's not even really surprised. Of course it's Joel and Jimmy who decided to bomb his birthday. Ignore the fact that he rigged his birthday first. Jim, why is there a raid? Oh, that was Scar, both Mean Girls echo. And then irritated, Martin turns. No, don't even talk to me right now, okay? You've literally ruined my birthday. Yeah, no, I don't. You should feel bad, Scott impresses, with that little smug look of his own, and chucks the wasted weakness pot at Joel to boot. Grian joins his teammates, pushing his sunglasses up on his head with what seems to be dejection. He's probably just frustrated that he didn't take the chance to stab somebody in the back while they were running from the blast. It's already over. But we saw it, continues Jimmy, this time addressing their nosy clocker and betide onlookers. He was going to kill us all. He rigged it. The accusation led to uproar. Scott is, of course, the first to jump to Martin's defense. He literally didn't. He rigged a birthday party. Jimmy, you were with him. What do you mean? Martin protests, loud and performative, angling for the fight. Literally nothing happened. It was just my birthday. It was all your TNT falling from the sky. Scott backs him up. Joel starts an equally loud offensive. There was TNT underneath it all. No, there wasn't. There was. We checked. Grian went down, adds Jimmy. It was rigged underneath the whole... Guys, he was going to kill you all at the birthday party. Thank goodness, though. Their audience don't seem to be convinced. Thank goodness, though. Their audience don't seem to be convinced. Martin emerges victorious from their entirely correct assertions of self-sabotage. Self-sabotage. There you go. The most intense explosion and no one died, Grian ends up lamenting. But yet, if you tickle someone with just one TNT minecart, that's it. You're dead. So technically, guys, the bad boys just saved your life. Thank you very much. Martin sends one single TNT minecart squarely in Grian's direction, just to show him. The instincts come quickly to his fingers, the muscle memory of violence and of threat. It shakes, but doesn't blow. You lot have ruined my birthday, alright? He repeats, giving his sword one last brandish as he backs off for real this time. You've ruined my birthday. The bad boys do not show remorse, except for Joel, who's promptly bogged off back unto whence he came, and something like that. Or something like that. Jimmy, though, is spoiling for a fight as ever. Get him! Get him! I didn't ruin anything! You want to play? Tango, Cleo, we should go, Scott calls, distancing himself from the drama once more. Ugh, whatever, man, says Martin, pushing down the urge to meet the challenge. Whatever. Because really, what kind of a birthday party was that? Once he's back home at the Coral Isles, Martin puts those diamonds in his ender chest and takes a minute to breathe. It's fine that it didn't work out, of course. Not every trap is going to. But he'd really hoped. He'd been so reserved to not let on. And he's got so many ideas. The thread of possibility is expansive. Crimson webbing strung across his mind. The deaths that he could have caused if he only tried a little harder. Precious seconds he could snatch. Ugh. Something about it's giving Martin a bit of a twitch. Nobody even died, for goodness sake. It's fine. It's fine. He just needs to get his kill another way. He just needs a little more time. God, that one really fucked me up. I'm just getting all tongue twisted in that one. Sorry for making you read 2,500 words of my writing. No, dude, this is fine. This is great. I'm enjoying this. I'm just sorry that I keep stumbling on my words. This piece is really cool. Look at this. So what's this from? What am I looking at here? So I'm assuming that's Grian, right? You got Grian. Not sure who these two characters are. The horns, I would assume then is Gem, right? Is that Gem? Lizzie and Pearl pushing Grian into lava. Oh, damn. Pearl / Lizzie's... Oh, I see. Damn. It's very cool. I really, really like it. I love that you can see, like, individual brush strokes and stuff inside of here. Even in the hair and stuff like that as well. So much detail. It's unreal. Right, let's scroll through. Ooh, that one's fun. Look at that. That's like a mid-action shot. So did Cleo kill Etho at some point during like a dinner party? I don't remember that. Ooh, that one's cool. Look at that. So I'm guessing that's Cleo B-dubs, Pearl, and then Timmy. Oh, wait, Grian. Well, there's some horns and it says Grian. Did Grian try to kill Timmy? Or am I wrong? Or is that Grian's dead? No, because Timmy dies first, doesn't he? Oh, it's Ravager Grian. Oh, with you. I love, by the way, the tower with the clock painted on it. That's very cool. And then you got a bit of fishing. Oh my god, you can see the Bread Boys sky bases. Very cool. Oh wow, God, look at the fangs. I never imagined myself with fangs, but they work with the coral vibe. I guess with the shark teeth, it makes you a bit like a fish man, doesn't it? Oh, the clock is the Watcher Eye, is it? Oh, yeah, I can see that. Yeah. I can see that. Nice. These shots are really cool. Oh, I love... Look at the motion in that. Look at the energy in it. Very cool. I like that. Is this when they were doing like their little podcast thing? That's great. I'm well into that. So that's a green one. And then you got just Korean just flying on a TNT minecart, just raining others down from above. I love that. That's the thing. One of my favorite things with the traffic zines is all the different art styles. It's great. Oh, that's kind of cool seeing him drawn with a creeper on his thing. Because obviously he's was it Kakashi from Naruto. Random trivia. I also have a Naruto headband on. That's why the thing on my shirt is a Leaf Village thing. That's a really cool piece. I love the contrast between foreground and background elements there. That's really, really nice. What? Hold on a minute. Look at this. Look at the detail on Scott's face. You've done Timmy dirty there, though. He's slightly more handsome than that. Wow. Look at that. That's insane. No way. When you reach half an hour, I'll let you kill me. Damn. That's wild. Okay. What's this one? Oh, wait. What is that one? Who is that? Someone plummeting towards the ground. Oh, Timmy's final death. Right, gotcha. Oh, is that representing the wings, the canary wings? Right, I understand now. Gotcha. That's cool. I like this. I like this kind of mixture of almost like photographic and then using kind of like just like black and white. This has just got a lot going on in it. This also feels a bit Dogwarts bannery, doesn't it? With the red and the white. Just self-inserting myself here. Oh my god, look at that. Look at the splatters. And the cloud textures. Oh my god. Wait, is this pixel art? I think it's pixel art. I'll tell you what, it's not far off. I thought it was for a second. I think where it was shrunk down, the brush almost looks as though it's, like, particularly around the fingers. I thought it was for a second. Ooh, this is a fun art style. I tell you what, this is giving me, like, minimally, it's giving me, like, slightly Fairly Odd Parents kind of feels to it. There's a lot more kind of curvature to these characters. I love the consistency from, like, knee right the way through to top arm. Like, that's such a clever brush stroke. That's great. I love the little shark vibe on Pearl. That's awesome. Love seeing Big B get some love in here as well. Yeah, Dexter's Lab is a good shout. Yeah, or like, yeah, Samurai Jack. It's basically it's Cartoon Network, isn't it? Yeah, very cool. Oh my god, look at that. What? I don't get how I don't get how people do this. It's so good. Again, loving all the halftone use and stuff like that, but just like the sense of like damp conveyed in this. Unbelievable. Really, really good. I love how the Shrek things are just drawn on, like, you got all this insane detail and stuff, and it's just like, Shrek! Just at the end. I love seeing Our Island, by the way, with this all built up. That's really cool. Oh, wow, what's this? Skiz, you're a stand-up guy. I appreciate you. I love everything about you, but I wish you were better at the game. Nice. I love how, like, sort of, kind of dystopian the structure looks here. It looks very, like, futuristic, sort of like futuristic urban city, doesn't it? Looks like something out of like Stray. That would be cool to do like an SMP where it's like the theme is almost like cyberpunky. I'd love that, or like a space themed one. Get on it, pal. Do it. That's awesome. So is that the time that he had left on his back when that quote was said? I'm assuming. Who's that jumping off the top? So you got Green and Joel, but then who's that? Oh, Scar. Ah. Very cool. Oh, wow. This one's wild. Look at that. So you got Scott and Green. Who's that? Joel? Must be Joel, right? That's stunning. That's really, really nice. Oh, Joel's last death. That's unreal. That's really, really cool. This is one of the ones that's taken me back the most so far. And now I'm thinking about the Roman Empire, for God's sake. Every time. Oh, I like this one. That one's cute. I love this kind of like shut eyes kind of vibe. So is that when he kind of like temporarily joined them after the bad boys died? It was Green came part of their group. It's a very short-lived allyship, but it's really cool to see it commemorated. Love that. And yeah, the two tombstones, I clocked those as well. Nice. Ooh, I like this. This really leans into the comic texturing. Look at B-dubs. I love that there's no limit to the range that you can have on B-dubs' expressions and stuff. Very cool. What's this one? You killed Mum. -1 hour. God, look at the depth in those eyes. Well, I say depth, the shallowness, I guess, in the eyes. Like, it's really devoid of just like emotion for a moment. That's the really like I'm on autopilot right now. Look. Cool. What's the deal behind Green always having the red, yellow, blue wings? What's that for? B guys. Love Impulse up there, chilling. This is really cool. Look at Scar. Scar looks so badass there. God damn. You got B-dubs just chilling. Oh, they're parrot wings. Oh, from Pesky Bird. Was Pesky Bird something he did on Hermitcraft? I think I caught that at one point. Didn't he make it like poo all over somebody's like hot air balloon or something like that? Oh, look at me. This is great. I just realized what this moment was. This is where I just broke like those 2 blocks and took the shell from Scar, and then he died because he tried to bucket clutch on leaves. That's really funny. That's a great shot. I love that. There's some really nice energy in that. It captures everything in a single, like, you know, single portrait. Look at Oh my god. I mean, not only this, that is menacing and looks awesome, but look at Tango's hair, dude. Oh my god. The way it kind of just ripples off. Wow, wow, wow. So was that at our base then, if it's in and among all the sugarcane? Or was it bamboo? Oh, I don't know at this point. Can't remember. Oh, this is clean. That's a clean piece, dude. That's like phone lock screen. That is phone lock screen right there. Look at that. That's unbelievable. Wow, 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 wow. I really like that. Oh my god. Ooh, this is cool. I'm loving the nighttime feels of this. I love the perspective work as well. That's so hard to get right, isn't it? To get angles right with this sort of stuff. Very cool. I'm loving seeing the Bigby love in this traffic zine. That's awesome. What's this piece? Ooh. Tell you what, I love the color palette here. That pink actually reminds me, like, sort of the darkness of it reminds me of Detonator Girls, which is a webtoon, which started out on Tumblr actually, but it's a webtoon that I really enjoy, from somebody in our audience called Harry. I'm trying to see if I can pull it up. Detonator Girls Tumblr. Yeah, can you see the pink I'm talking about? That pink from the banner there. It reminds me of that. Very cool. I love that. So what's this moment then? Is that Scar? Is that Scar cutting? Sorry, Grian cutting Scar down. That's sick. I love that. I don't think I'm in that one. Ooh, I like this. This pleases my eyes. This isn't that far of a departure from my channel colors. So this kind of like teal, yellow, greeny sort of like hue always really sits well on my eyes. People capture Cleo really well in the artwork they do. She has a really unique kind of like skin and style to her. And I think people are really good at personifying that. That's great. Damn. Okay. Oh, there I am. Oh, me with a beard. That's a rare sight. Me with an actual beard. That's great. So what moment's this? Oh, I love this. This is when they were in the water. Here's the thing about being beyond the veil. I was wrong. I was so wrong. Nice. We're already dead. There's a lot going on in this piece. That's awesome. Look, like Pearl like swimming down. Grian trying to get away. Bigby just taking one to the dome. That's a really, really cool shot. I love the way that the dirt block has been shown as well. I'm really enjoying the way this is all, this all clicks together. Really clever use of space here. And also that could just be a really drab canvas, couldn't it? But they filled it with something of interest. I'd be intrigued to know if they drew that at perspective or if they drew it flat and then used Photoshop to do a perspective warp. Because I don't think I'd bother trying to draw it perspective. I think I'd draw flat and then just... You did it by hand. Bloody hell. Bravo. Bravo. Don't think I'm in that one by the looks of it. Ooh. Ooh, I really, really, really like this. This is the kind of thing I would love to commission. This is very up my street for like the VTuber stuff. Like if I was to do a comic book, which I've always wanted to, this would be great. So that's Bigby killing Pearl. Is that a desperation for time? Yeah, 49 seconds. That's great. Is Pearl wearing socks, or are they boots, or are they shorts and that's the legs? Because obviously it's using harsh contrast, harsh lighting. Shorts. Okay, cool. Whoa, dude, I love the idea that Skynet is literally above the atmosphere. That's hilarious. Is that just like a Sparta kick off the top? Who's that getting kicked there? That's obviously Etho absolutely doming somebody, but who is it? Who did he kick off? Pearl Yikes. I love the whole, like, catching a flame, going back down through the atmosphere. That's awesome. Oh my god. Wait, is that me? Is it? I think it is. Oh my god. That's me falling off a Skynet. Damn. Did I die falling off a Skynet? Because you said it was all deaths, right? Ah. That's really cool, isn't it? Jeez. Ooh, I like this. Look at that sickle. It's like moon-shaped. Damn. That's really, really cool. I'm into that. Look at the posing as well. So dynamic. It's unreal. Okay. So there's that one. What's this one? Oh, more parrot green. Is that basically mocking that he died due to fall damage? But with that. Love seeing the mansion drawn, actually. That's really cool. Grian's final death. Nice. That's very, very cool. I'm into that. Don't think I'm in that one, am I? Am I in that one? Well, I seem to be in it a bit more. What's this one about? You reckon I'm in that one? Oh, to be fair, it's the last one, so we probably can read it. Let's do that. She used to be an ally of mine. Ah, cool. So we're linking back to Double Life again. Oh, is this during the chase? Is this during when Scott finishes off Pearl, is it? When Pearl's chasing me when I'm really... When I'm on like my last legs. Ah, that's really cool. And I can see a glimpse of the last one. I think that's I'm assuming that's a cherry piece. Because I feel like we haven't seen the cherry piece just yet. So we'll look at that in a minute. Should we read this? Is that the last one? Oh no, this one here, sorry. Let's do it. Let's read one more. Alright. Time flies when you're having fun. We lost our advantage. It's 2v2. 3v2, I guess, says Impulse, running down the hill to the Team Ties Tower. Scott and Martin had escaped to Skynet and were probably on their way to the Ties Tower. The group, Etho, Martin, and himself, were travelling on the ground and just trying not to die. 2v2? Questions Pearl. Then she begins to laugh at her own remark. Impulse pulls out his bow in preparation for the unavoidable encounter with the Mean Gills in Ties Tower. He's probably going to die again. How many times had Scott already killed him this session? But he'll at least try. Well, I'm not much of a fighter. Impulse glances at Etho. And Etho's washed up, so, you know. He walks down the bridge, stepping around the holes in the wood. The bridge creaks with each footstep, and the edges are charred from Scar constantly burning it. Yep, it's all up to you, Pearl, says Etho, his voice slightly muffled by his mask. The others are behind Impulse, so he can't see them as he enters the tower. Is this the last time he'll get to be here? The last time he'll get to brush his fingers against these stone walls? Team Ties, they're called. How ironic that with a name that represents unity. They've all died alone. Oh, wow, okay, well, stammers Pearl. Once Impulse steps into the broken bubble elevator, the others' voices are muffled by the rushing water pulling him upwards. He can hear the sound of the water sloshing around a few meters below him. Pearl. As he approaches the top of the elevator under Skynet, he can see Martin and Scott on Skynet. Sure, he expected them to be here, but he still instinctively ducks back into the water, anticipating the inevitable fight. He pulls out a fireworks-loaded crossbow and aims it at Martin. They're here, they're there, they're right there, says Martin, repeating himself to Scott. Martin spotted him. His heart jumps at the sound of Martin's voice and he attempts to shoot his crossbow into Martin's direction. The fireworks rocket explodes in his face, erupting into little white sparks floating down to the ocean. Ow, 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 cries Martin, running towards the Ties Tower. Impulse pulls out his bow and begins shooting at him. Martin's probably low on health, and this can be a quick kill. Quick way of getting time. Martin runs directly above him, and all the impossible shots Impulse takes land on the bottom of Skynet. Impulse begins to swim down the tower, using the water flooding from the roof. Scott, still up on Skynet, is an easier target, so Impulse aims at him instead. Oh no! Oh, sorry. Oh no! Exclaims Pearl. And Martin falling like the TNT minecarts from Skynet. Actually, they were dropping from Skynet. Impulse shifts his focus to Martin. I've just seen the chat delayed. Impulse shifts focus to Martin, and looking downward, still slowly swimming down the tower, he tries to fire at Martin, but his arrows keep missing. Impulse gets shot, and his health drops to 5 hearts. Startled, he slips, falling out the tower water stream and plummeting to the balcony. Hello, he lands in front of Pearl, only to be greeted by a punch to his face. Sorry, I didn't see you. I thought you were Martin. I thought you were Martin. Sorry, says Pearl. He eats a loaf of bread, regenerating his health. Well, that's why I announced myself. Impulse chuckles, then begins to circle around the tower on the lookout for the mean gills. Oh no, screams Etho, his voice getting cut off. Impulse snaps his head to the source of the sound, but he can't see where Etho is. I just heard him screaming and he's gone, laughs Pearl. Impulse notices Scott swimming up Ty's tower and silently shoots at him. Yeah, he's gone, says Scott smugly. Did Scott knock Etho off? He ain't dead though, he's alive, retorts Pearl. He tries to continue shooting at Scott, but Scott swims too far up the tower for Impulse's arrows to reach. Following Pearl, Impulse walks into the tower. She dashes straight for the exit, but Impulse stops to collect his thoughts. An arrow pierces him in the chest, seemingly out of nowhere. In a fraction of a second, another hits him, dropping Impulse to 2 hearts. He blindly runs out of the tower and hears Scott's stupid, smug laugh from the distance. Clutching an end of Pearl, he hurls it as far as he can, not even caring where it lands. -1 hour. All Impulse feels is a dull, buzzing pain in his bones. Opening his eyes, he can see the blurry figure of the clocker's tower and the painstakingly bright sun shining back at him. Respawn? He gets up at spawn, probably a few dozen meters from where he died. He's okay now, nothing hurts anymore. Everything's fine, just a bit dizzy. Impulse gets back up, dusting himself off. 3 hours, 24 minutes, and 8 seconds. In a perfect world, that's how long he has until he runs out of time, but he will get killed. He will lose time, and he will die today. With 3 hours, 24 minutes, and 6 seconds left, all he can do is just try. This isn't very moody, is it? That'll do. Impulse begins to walk down the mountain, the canopy of dark oak much cooler than the heat of the sun, taking slow steps. He tries to listen for the others, but all he hears is static in his head. The lack of noise is terrifying. Nowhere is safe. There could be a TNT minecart above his head for all he knows. He could be seconds away from death. Impulse would rather know if he was about to die. Walking closer to the mansion, he swears he can hear something. No, someone. The faint sound of screaming, of fighting. Impulse glances up at Skynet, but nothing. Etho ran out of time. He flinches, a bolt of lightning striking Bread Bridge. The all too familiar roar of thunder rings in the forest, and Impulse wants to open his eyes, but he doesn't want to see Etho dead. He doesn't want to accept that he's the last member of Ties. They're all gone. Skiz, Tango, and now Etho. What did Skiz say when he died? Ties gets to the final 3? Here Impulse is. In the final 3. He's in the final 3. He's died and he's killed more times than he can remember, and he's in the final 3. He guesses everyone must be on Bread Bridge, where Etho died. Impulse jumps into the mansion and swims to the surface. As his head breaks the water, he rubs his eyes, seeing the fuzzy yet unmistakable sign outline of Scott. Fumbling for his bow, Impulse quickly dives back into the water. He brings his shield up and slowly swims closer to the 1 block wide line on the remains of Bread Bridge. Grasping onto the cobblestone, Impulse pulls himself onto the bridge, water weighing his clothes down. He pulls the bowstring, aiming for Scott's chest. Scott holds up a shield and Impulse lets go, the arrow spinning and flying in the air. It lands in Scott's shield, silently vibrating. Impulse shoots again, then grabs a firework-loaded crossbow. Launching it, he hears a bang, and the rocket burst into a show of tiny stars. As the sparks dissipated, Scott had his shield still up, smiling. The crossbow did nothing. Scott moves towards Impulse, backing him up closer to the mansion. Impulse keeps shooting, most of his attempts missing entirely or just hitting his shield. It's quiet. Too quiet. All Impulse hears is the sound of arrows being shot, hitting wood and cobble. The silence is deafening, so he breaks it. "Hi, Scott," says Impulse, using a voice too normal for a fight. "Hi, Impulse," replies Scott, imitating Impulse's uncannily cheerful voice. "I don't know where Pearl went," Impulse says, in between shots. It's funny, isn't it? Making small talk with a person after his life. No, after his time. "Me neither," says Scott, an amused laugh blending with the near nonsense sounds he spouts out. Impulse continually shoots at Scott, and Scott's shield looks like a porcupine or a medieval torture method. "I don't need her right now," he says, slowly getting pushed back by Scott. They maintain a good 5 or 6 meters from each other, space being limited on the thin bridge. Scott's shield breaks. The one thing protecting Scott from death breaks. Scott's defenseless. Metal and wood fall apart, disturbing the still water below. Impulse shoots, hitting Scott twice, one in the arm and one in the stomach. Scott ran. What else could Scott have done? Impulse begins to shoot at Scott, but as Scott gets farther away, all of his shots miss. He chases after Scott, arrow after arrow missing. As Impulse takes a step forward, he can't move his other foot and stumbles onto the ground. Pushing himself back up to the ground, he sees the laces of his shoes untied. Stupid him. Kneeling down, he ties his shoes into a hasty knot and jumps back into a run. Scott's nowhere to be seen. Impulse looks down into the dark oak forest and can see Scott running away from Bread Bridge. He jumps down, the realization that he forgot to look for water hitting him just a little bit too late. Luckily, he lands in a pool of water flowing off the edge of the mansion and continues to run into the forest. He can hear Pearl, Scott, and Martin. Sure, Pearl's on his side, but he feels utterly alone. Ties is dead. This is the final 3. Impulse takes his cover behind the dark oak tree, stopping to catch his breath. Scott says his name. He's been found. So he runs into the heat of the fight, shooting at Scott, still shieldless. He manages to get a shot in, but it starts to feel a whole lot warmer. Scott holds an empty bucket, and in a heartbeat, a sword is being slashed at his face. Impulse blocks the swing with his shield, maneuvering around a dark oak tree by a few seconds. He tries to swing at Scott, but the lava-wielding man is just so fidgety. "Oh, I'm so jumpy," laughs Scott, again with a small talk. Impulse frantically dodges the lava that Scott keeps picking up and placing. Scott's just too damn fast. Too quick. Always a step ahead of him. You ever get like that? Scott continues. Where you're all jittery? A misstep. An Impulse is lit on fire. The flames lick at him and blisters his skin. And it hurts. It hurts. How could he let Scott win again? Impulse's sword clashes with Scott, the two of them jumping and spinning around. Their swords against each other. He strikes Scott in the leg and Scott stabs him in the arm. A clumsy, awkward dance. He stumbles down, landing in more water. The fire burning him alive is put out. But Scott's right at his face before he has the chance to comprehend what's going on. -1 hour. Impulse dies. Sitting in a pool of water, he watches the world blur. Of course Scott kills him again. He has 8 minutes and 20 seconds left. Impulse doesn't even feel pain. Just frustration. Respawn? Nice, I like that. I enjoy reading these, it's fun. Reading these with music and stuff, it's a lot of fun. Alright. So we got that, and then we got the final piece of artwork. Oh yeah. Look at me, dude. I know Cherry's art when I see it. And there I am. Even included the colors of the lives in the notches as well. Me wielding my sword up high. And then you got Scott laid out. Impulse laid out. What are the horns on Impulse out of interest? But there it is. Very, very cool. Traffic Zine. I'll certainly be reading the other stories, by the way. I mean, what time is it? We've only got about half an hour left on the stream. There's a new live song by Grimm as well. Okay. I'll tell you what, let's call that there. And we can have a little listen to that song as well, I think.